Other than the season being cancelled, I think we can all agree that the Philadelphia 76ers are easily the biggest disappointment of the 2020 NBA season, as coming into the year, many people thought they could come out of the Eastern Conference and get to the NBA Finals with a roster that features Ben Simmons, Joel Embiid, Tobias Harris, Al Horford, and Josh Richardson. But now here we are with them being eliminated from the first round by the Boston Celtics once again, but unlike all the other times, they didn't even get a game. They were swept. And though Ben Simmons did miss the series due to an injury, let's be honest here, the Sixers were not going to win the championship. They were not going to get to the finals, and honestly, I would have been shocked if they got out of the second round. This team has so many flaws. They are not well coached because their offense is so simplistic and one-dimensional, and that's thanks to Brett Brown, who was just fired yesterday. And to be honest, that move couldn't have come at a better time because this whole team needs a new identity completely. Because when I look at this roster, they have so many players who shouldn't even be on the same court with other players that they play with because nobody fits well at all. And it's represented by the core pieces of their team: Ben Simmons, Tobias Harris, and Joel Embiid. You got Tobias Harris, who can kind of do a bit of everything when it comes to scoring, but his main game is give him the ball. He can operate in the mid-range, can space the floor, and is just a very versatile offensive player. But he's not some catch and shoot guy that you can throw on the corner, because that's what Ben Simmons needs, because he's not a floor spacer. Simmons is somebody that can handle the ball, push it down court in transition, and he is a great finisher due to his size, and he has incredible vision. But that's not somebody that should have primary ball handling responsibilities unless everybody around him is a shooter. So I guess a team like the Houston Rockets, that would be a perfect scenario for a guy like Ben Simmons. But let's not open that box, we're not there yet. But then you look at the other player that they got as a member of their core, and it's Joel Embiid. Joel Embiid is easily the most unstoppable player in the post, but yet a lot of people really don't know just how unstoppable he is. Like, don't get me wrong, people know he's great, but I don't think people get just how great he is because he has to play with Ben Simmons. Embiid is very polished in the post, and he knows how to use his size and skill as well as his finesse to get to any spot in the paint and do whatever he wants. But guess what? There's another guy who likes the paint and only likes the paint, and his name is Ben Simmons. Think about that. They're two best players that they run their offense through. I mean, don't get me wrong, they can run it through Tobias, but they mainly run it through Simmons and Embiid. Both of those guys dominate one area: the paint. So you would think that even though they can't shoot, they would at least have some shooters around them, right? Well, no, that's not really what they got. Don't get me wrong, they have some guys that can shoot, but they're not snipers. They're not dead-eye guys that you know are money when they're open. Because having Al Horford shooting 35% or Josh Richardson, who struggles to shoot league average on a year-to-year basis, yeah, those are not great shooters. And don't get me wrong, I know they have Korkmaz as well as Shake Milton, who came along towards the end of the season. He was a definite bonus for this team, but that's just not enough. And as much as I like Matisse Thybulle, and he is a heavy fan favorite to the Sixers fans, I know they love him, but he's not that consistent offensively, and that's why his minutes can kind of go up and down, because though he is a terror on defense because he's amazing on that side of the ball due to his length, offensively, he's just not that much of a plus. He can space the floor, and when he's on, but he can have stretches where he'll be the complete opposite. And he's not a great free throw shooter as well, which you don't have to worry about too much because he's not taking it to the lane, but that is something you need to worry about in crunch time situations when you want him to be on the court, because defensively he's still great, so you know his production is still going to be at a very high level on that side of the ball. The problem is offensively, he just can't find a remote of consistency. But this is his first year, so I'm gonna cut him a little bit of slack. But what I find funny is that they had a player like Matisse Thybulle, and his name was Robert Covington. Covington, let's not forget, he was on the Sixers. This is a guy that defensively was still playing it at an elite level, even making an All-NBA defensive team there. But then offensively, though he did have his struggles, he was still a good floor spacer for that team. I still to this day don't know why they traded Robert Covington. It was a stupid decision, and Elton Brand gets so much of a pass for how he is ruining this organization. I mean, how can you let shooters, and I'm talking snipers, leave like JJ Redick, Landry Shamet? How do you let them leave when you know you got a guy like Ben Simmons who's not even gonna think about taking a shot outside of the restricted area? It's just stupid, it's mind-blowing, and honestly, he needs to be drug tested because it's like he's purposely trying to sabotage this organization, and it irks me that people don't give him enough blame, because though players do have an impact towards a team winning a championship, obviously, I mean, they're the ones going out there dribbling, shooting, blocking shots, defending, doing all of that, but the front office matters a lot. People do not understand that teams don't just come together. The front office has to put them together. You have to have players that fit. You have to have systems that work, and the Sixers do not have that at all. To pair players that just don't fit offensively or defensively, putting Al Horford at the power forward when he's too slow, trying to turn Tobias Harris sometimes into a spot up shooter, or thinking that Josh Richardson is going to turn into JJ Redick. This team puts so many players in roles that they just do not belong in, and now we're looking at them as if they're worse players when they're not even as bad as people think. Al Horford is not trash, he just shouldn't be playing the power forward. He's too slow. Josh Richardson isn't trash, he's just not a sniper. He's an average shooter at best. And Tobias Harris, his game is kind of in the mid-range game. He can post up, he can do everything you want, but he's not going to turn into some Kevin Love. And Ben Simmons, he needs the paint to dominate, as well as Joel Embiid, which leads into my final and last point. Break them up. It's time. Let it go. I know they were both top picks in the draft, Ben Simmons being number 1 even, and Joel Embiid being number 3, but you gotta break them up, because at this point, this team is not touching a lot of teams that are just in the Eastern Conference alone, and that doesn't even include the fact that the Nets are not even in the equation right now. So imagine what it's gonna be like next year. And I know a lot of people are saying Ben Simmons was injured, so who knows what could have happened this year if he was healthy. Guys, come on. Don't stay here and cap. Yes, it's cool. Ben Simmons is a nice player. He's great defensively. He can pass, great vision, all of that, great finisher. We know what he brings to the table, but let's keep it a buck. If Ben Simmons is the gap between winning a championship or even making the finals and getting swept by the Boston Celtics in the first round, then Ben Simmons must be way better than we all thought, because it takes a superstar to have that kind of impact, and we all know that's far from what Ben Simmons is. And I'm glad that people are now seeing just how bad of a dumpster fire this organization really is, because let's not forget how this process even started. They were losing for years, tanking, trading the assets such as Drew Holiday, getting first-round picks, and drafting players that they knew couldn't play together, such as Nerlens Noel, Dario Saric, Ben Simmons, and Joel Embiid, all front court players. And then when they actually picked a guard that fit, he got hurt in Markelle Fultz, and now look at them. They got the biggest payroll in the NBA, and for what? To get swept in the first round as a 6th seed to the Boston Celtics? Oh man, I just love it when I'm right, because I predicted this. I called this from the beginning of the year, and just look at where we are. But that concludes this video, man. Y'all let me know in the comment section what y'all thought about it. If you like it, drop a like, and also if you love what you see from this channel, hit that subscribe button and turn on the bell for post notifications. This is your boy Young Mustard signing out. Y'all have a great day. Peace.